So, ladies and gentlemen, the new Tragically Hip documentary is drawing a lot of interest from people across Canada states because they are still considered Canada's top band of the last 30, 40 years because of their what they call historical and entertainment impact. And Gord Downie was always doing songs that were based on things that have happened in real life or things he observed. The David Milgaard case, mafia murders, the aspect of the Meech Lake Accord vote. And this song is more of a tribute to his love of hockey and sports and the legends of hockey than anything else. And 50 Mission Cap has to be the unofficial Toronto Maple Leaf theme song, even though it tells the story of a Leafs player some, get this, 73 years ago. Now, it tells the story of Bill Barilko, and Gordy, who's now passed on, of course, has said in published reports he was motivated to do the song by a pro set hockey card that showed Barilko's game-winning or Stanley Cup winning goal against Montreal in the 51 Stanley Cup Finals. Now, this goal is very important in Leafs lore because it stopped the combined Montreal-Detroit dynasty, because the rest of the cups won that decade were Detroit and Toronto, and the Barilko goal is probably, and there's tape of it as well, probably one of the most dramatic ever in Leafs history. Now, the song 50 Mission Cap, again by The Hip, released in January 93 as the second single from the band's third full-length album, Fully Completely, which won numerous awards. It was first played in front of a live concert audience at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto on December 16, 1991. The song is a tribute to Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman Bill Barilko, introducing Barilko's story to a younger generation. Now, this is considered one of the Hip's most popular songs. Now, released on MCA, 4 minutes and 10 seconds. And again, it was sandwiched by Locked in a Trunk of a Car, Another Story Song, and Courage, which again talked about the Meech vote. Now, the song's lyrics describe the mysterious disappearance of Barilko, who scored the Stanley Cup clinching goal for Leafs over the Habs in the 51 Cup Finals. 4 months and 5 days later, he departed on a fishing trip to in a small single-engine airplane with friend and dentist Henry Hudson. The plane eventually disappeared between Rupert House and Timmins, Ontario, leaving no trace of Barilko or Hudson. 11 years later, on June 7, 1962, helicopter pilot Ron Boyd discovered the plane wreckage roughly 100 kilometers north of Cochrane, Ontario, about 35 miles off course. Barilko was finally buried in his home of Timmins the same year that the Maple Leafs won their next Stanley Cup. And of course, the lyrics talk about that. His body wasn't discovered until the next won the Stanley Cup. In early press coverage of Fully Completely, Downie described the Barilko incident as a Canadian Amelia Earhart story, except everyone's heard of Amelia Earhart. Now, the song's lyrics and title also reference a military cap, which became known as a 50 Mission Cap and a crush cap during World War II. The 50 Mission Cap or crush cap was just a standard issue military peak cap, still widely used by modern military forces. These were worn by both fighter pilots and bomber crews. The term 50 Mission Cap and crush cap came from the look these caps gained after much wear. The wire crown stiffener was removed to allow the top of the hat to crush, so headphones could be worn in the cockpit. The aged and worn look of the cap was thus a status symbol, and according to Downie, the intended theme in the lyrics was that junior pilots would work their caps in to look like 50 Mission Caps, so as to appear that you had more experience from you really did. Now, the 91 NHL Pro Set series, he basically used the card there of the Barilko goal, and he said, the line, I stole this from a hockey card, again references number 340 from the set. Now, the song's influence on public awareness of Barilko's story was such that the band devoted an entire chapter in the 2004 book, 67 The Maple Leafs, Their Sensational Victory and the End of an Empire. The song remains a staple part of the warm-up playlist at every Maple Leafs home game, even though it's, it's not like what they call a typical dance song. And the Leafs have a framed, hand-written copy of Gordy Downie's lyrics of the song in their private players' lounge. Whenever the band played the air carrier in the center, Barilko's retired number banner would be frequently spotlighted during the concert. And when Downie died on October 17, 2017, the team incorporated Barilko's banner into the Downie tribute. Now, in 2017, TSN aired the short documentary film The Mission, providing a project to recover the remaining records of Barilko's playing. The film took its title from Fifth Mission Cap, and is thematically touched on the song's role in Barilko's history. The film received a Canadian Screen Actors Award nomination for Best Sports Feature Segment at the 6th Canadian Screen Awards. Now, ironically, the song only hit top 40 in Canada, but like any legendary song, its legend lives on. Now, the idea about this, if you're not American and you're not really into the hip, I want you to listen to this song and see the total in what they call the Bob Dylan style structure, while telling a story that makes it entertaining and also informative. Now, Gordy was the type of person, he loved Canada. He loved all aspects of his history, and he was always trying to inform his listeners and the different people across Canada. You should remember your history. He loved his rock and roll music. He loved his influences. He loved his Leafs. And the idea about the fact this song has become much more larger than anybody ever expected just adds to the Tragically Hip legacy. Now, released in January 93 from Fully Completely, recorded at Battery Studios. Songwriters were Rob Baker, Gordy, Johnny Fay, Paul Langlois, and the other Gordy, Gord Singlair. Producer was Chris Sangaritas. Now again, 92-93 was huge for the hip because they were, appearing in a lot of major events. Eventually appeared on Saturday Night Live, introduced by Dan Aykroyd. But the idea about the hip, ladies and gentlemen, we're like he said once in concert, we're about the Sky Diggers. We're honored by their presence tonight. The idea of the Tragically Hip, they were so Canadian. We had to redefine what it was like to be a Canadian artist because the con pop of the 70s, 80s, and 90s changed as soon as Gordy decided to take the mantle up about historical songs. Now, we really do miss him. It's been 7 years already, hard to believe. Brain cancer took him. And his last concert, you can watch it on video. But the idea about the documentary, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never heard about the hip before, you're a Leafs fan and you don't know about the hip, you might be pretty well stupid. Every Leaf fan in Canada knows that Gordy Downie has been kind of the voice of the Leafs for years. Check out the documentary, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very interesting watch. And don't forget, you're only as good as your songwriters, and Canada was a better place for the years that Gordy was working with the hip. And he even did a video with the boys from Trailer Park Boys. The darkest one, involving the Cats and Don Cherry, has to be seen to be believed. So every Tragically Hip video and song had a resonance and meaning. And the only thing I can say is rest in peace, Bill Barilko, because he may be dead all these years, but you're still a hero to Leaf Nation. Have a good one, and ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here with our various information and podcasts, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.